The Braxton family drama has reached an explosive peak in the current season of their reality show, and it's painful to watch a once-tight sisterhood unravel so publicly. What started as a seemingly routine family dinner spiraled into accusations, screaming, physical altercations, and the unearthing of decades-old wounds that no one seems willing or able to heal. At the center of it all is Tamar Braxton, the youngest sister, who many viewers feel has been unfairly painted as the sole villain for years. This time, however, the cracks in the relationships among all the sisters, Toni, Towanda, Trina, and Tamar, are impossible to ignore, and the blame feels far more evenly distributed than the show has ever allowed before. The fuse was lit over a cease and desist letter that Tamar received after she interviewed their niece, Ashley Braxton, the daughter of their brother Michael, on her own platform. Ashley has been speaking out about traumatic experiences from her childhood, including molestation by family members on both sides and inappropriate text messages from Trina's late husband Gabe when Ashley was only 16. Tamar, herself a survivor of childhood molestation and someone who felt silenced by the family for years, saw parallels in Ashley's story and wanted to give her a safe space to tell it. Almost immediately after the interview aired, Tamar was hit with legal paperwork demanding she stop discussing the matter. The letter came from the family attorney, and Tamar is convinced one or more of her sisters provided her address to make that possible. She views it as an attempt to shut down not just the conversation, but her entire business. When Tamar confronted her sisters about the cease and desist at the now infamous dinner, none of them would take responsibility. They denied knowing anything about it, insisted they had no part in it, and gaslighted Tamar into believing she was overreacting or misremembering. That denial set Tamar off, because to her it felt like history repeating itself. Another generation of Braxton women being told to stay quiet about abuse and inappropriate behavior within the family. She exploded, screaming that her own trauma had been minimized for years and that she refused to let the same thing happen to Ashley. What made the situation even more volatile was the revelation that Toni had once floated the idea of bringing Ashley onto Braxton family values so everyone could hear her side. Tamar remembered those conversations clearly and felt betrayed when Toni, on camera, flatly denied ever suggesting it. In confessionals, however, Toni walked it back slightly, admitting she had mentioned it casually but never meant for Tamar to take it literally. Viewers saw the contradiction immediately. Many believe Toni was trying to keep peace with the other sisters, Towanda, Trina, and possibly their brother Michael, who did not want Ashley's allegations aired publicly. By publicly distancing herself from the idea, Toni threw Tamar under the bus to avoid conflict with the rest of the family. As the argument escalated, money became the next battleground. Tamar accused Towanda of never repaying a substantial loan, some reports say $35,000, others $50,000, that she gave her years ago to cover the down payment on a house. Tamar pointed out that when Towanda later filed for bankruptcy, Tamar was listed as an official creditor, which contradicts Towanda's current claim that the money was a gift. Tamar also discovered that Towanda had secretly added her own phone lines to Tamar's family plan and had been charging the bills to Tamar's credit card for years without her knowledge. Tamar was furious, shouting that her sisters only pretend to care about her when the cameras are rolling and they need her paycheck to keep the show alive. Towanda's defense was telling. Instead of directly addressing the money, she deflected by accusing Tamar of sleeping with one of Toni's former partners. The name was bleeped for legal reasons, but longtime viewers believe she was referring to Toni's second ex-husband, Kerry Lewis. Towanda brought up an alleged affair from the 1990s as if it erased her own financial wrongdoing. The accusation stunned Tamar, who denied it vehemently, and it sent Toni into a rage. She jumped up from the table ready to fight. The entire restaurant scene descended into chaos, with sisters standing, pointing fingers, and security eventually stepping in. Perhaps the most disturbing moment came when Tamar, feeling cornered and triggered, physically lashed out. She grabbed Trina's hair and kicked her after mistakenly thinking Trina had pushed her. It was a regrettable, impulsive reaction, and Tamar later acknowledged she needs to work on emotional regulation. Still, many fans argue the physicality didn't come out of nowhere. Tamar had been provoked, gaslighted, and had her trauma weaponized for the entire evening. Towanda immediately threatened to press charges, which felt to many like the ultimate proof of deep-seated hatred rather than mere frustration. Toni, to her credit, shut that idea down quickly, saying she would never call the police on her sister no matter how heated things got. Underneath all the screaming are layers of pain that go back decades. The Braxton parents, particularly their father, have been accused of showing favoritism. Toni as the superstar eldest daughter and Tamar as the spoiled baby often received more attention and resources. Towanda, the middle child with a strong voice but darker skin, has spoken in the past about feeling overlooked. Some family members, including a woman claiming to be a cousin, have openly said that Towanda and Trina have harbored jealousy toward Toni and Tamar for years. Colorism, unequal opportunities, and lingering resentment over Tamar leaving the original singing group for a solo deal all feed into the current dysfunction. The Ashley situation is especially heartbreaking. She has alleged childhood molestation, physical and emotional abuse from her father and stepmother, the tragic loss of her sister Lo to a heroin overdose, and being blamed by Trina for Gabe's inappropriate advances when she was a minor. Trina has distanced herself from Ashley entirely and now says the dead cannot defend themselves when their names are brought up. Many see that stance as victim blaming and a continuation of the family's toxic pattern of silencing survivors. Tamar and their sister Tracy before her passing were the only ones willing to listen and amplify Ashley's voice, and they paid for it with estrangement from the rest of the family. Financial exploitation runs through the story like a dark thread. Tamar has undeniably helped Towanda out of tight spots multiple times, yet Towanda shows little gratitude and, according to Tamar and some viewers, continues to take advantage. The fact that Towanda would accept tens of thousands of dollars from someone she claims not to even like, and then weaponize decades-old gossip when confronted, has left many people questioning her character. Even the phone bill situation feels petty and calculated, quietly siphoning money from a sister you supposedly can't stand, then screaming about ancient rumored affairs when called out. Toni, as the eldest and most famous, often tries to remain above the fray, but this season she's been criticized for playing both sides. She'll have private conversations with Tamar that seem supportive, then deny or downplay those same conversations in front of the others to keep peace. Her explosive reaction when Tamar jokingly or not so jokingly implied something about Birdman suggests there may be lingering insecurity there too. Rumors have swirled for years that Tamar and Birdman had a brief situationship long before he began dating Toni, and while nothing has ever been confirmed, the tension is palpable. At the end of the day, the Braxton sisters are trapped in a cycle most families never have to air on national television. Childhood trauma that was never properly addressed, parental favoritism, financial dependency, professional jealousy, and a reality show format that rewards conflict have all combined to create a perfect storm. Tamar is chaotic and sometimes cruel with her words, but she is also the only one consistently willing to speak uncomfortable truths aloud. Towanda appears calculating and financially opportunistic. Trina seems more concerned with protecting her late husband's image than supporting her niece. Toni wants family unity, but refuses to rock the boat enough to actually achieve it. The saddest part is that cameras or no cameras, this is how the Braxtons have always functioned, according to people who claim to know them personally. Family reunions apparently looked a lot like these dinner scenes long before WeTV ever showed up. The money, the fame, and the constant filming have only magnified resentments that were already there. Until someone, maybe all of them, decides to sit in therapy off camera, no storylines, no confessionals, and excavate the real pain instead of performing it, reconciliation feels impossible. For now, viewers are left watching 5 women who love each other deeply tear one another apart week after week, and it's hard to look away even when it's hard to watch.